Hello, my name is Amira Turner. I'm the ASB Senior Class Treasurer.
Hello, my name is Naomi Sato. I am the ASB Executive Board Secretary.
Hi, my name is Shreya Vommi, and I'm from the Equity Club.
And I'm Shagun Seth, and I'm also from the Equity Club. We are excited to present Liberty High School's Land Acknowledgement that was created by the Issaquah School District in partnership with the Snoqualmie Tribe. We'd first like to introduce McKenna Sweet Dorman, a member of the Snoqualmie Tribe who is an important advisor to our school district about land acknowledgement, as well as tribally developed curriculum, to include more Indigenous voice and perspective.
To start us off, Ms. Dorman, what is a land acknowledgement exactly?
A land acknowledgement is, it can take many forms, but ultimately it's a way to acknowledge the peoples who have always been here, their connection to a landscape. So the way that Snoqualmie encourages land use, land acknowledgement use, is tied to that landscape. So in a different area, you might be acknowledging many people. In one area, you might actually only be acknowledging one tribe. It really depends on where you're located.
Secondly, Ms. Dorman, what's the significance of the ISD land acknowledgement to the Indigenous community, specifically the Snoqualmie Tribe?
It's a huge step to see a land acknowledgement used in school. That kind of use and education that goes along with that is really meaningful, not just for the Indigenous community, but really for everyone who is going through that school and growing up and learning about their connection and the landscape around that they're living, working, and playing on. It's really important to have that everywhere you go, but especially in a place of learning.
What can this specific land acknowledgement lead to, and what are other areas of focus or other areas of partnership that the Issaquah School District is pursuing with the Snoqualmie and Duwamish tribe?
I'll start that, but I think Ms. Harper might have something to add as well. One of the wonderful things that I've seen grow from this partnership and the work around making sure that land acknowledgement is incorporated in the Issaquah School District is the continuation again of that learning and that connection of growth and understanding. So we've been working for the last 5 years and many more to come on curriculum adoption. So this curriculum adoption is also very vital in that land acknowledgement use. You can say that you acknowledge a people and that history, but if there really is no understanding of those people that still exist or the history that goes along with these landscapes, and that we're all living on, it's really that next step of a deeper understanding of why we're even teaching about these things.
And Ms. Dorman, I think that you said exactly what is our reasoning for why we are partnering with the Snoqualmie Tribe, is to gain that understanding and to deepen it, and to make sure that our curriculum reflects that understanding and that connection with not only the landscape that we all live in and play in and work in, but that is involved in our perspective of how we learn and how we look at life as individuals and as students and as a community as well. So like you said, this is a partnership that has started, but it has lots of areas to grow because we always have areas that we can understand more and make deeper connections.
This sort of ties into the last question, but what are some of the biggest, like the big picture outcomes you would like to see come out of the land acknowledgement?
I think I've said it many times throughout this interview, but I really am hoping that through land acknowledgement use, and especially land acknowledgement use in a school district, in individual schools or at the start of an assembly, that there is a moment of reflection, but more so that mindfulness that comes with that in a deeper understanding. So a commitment also to learn more, to keep growing and understanding as individuals, everyone who is there. And I would say that that's true of really anywhere you go, making sure that you're walking in that mindfulness and understanding that there's always a long history, no matter where you're walking on this earth, and people are connected to those places.
Next up, we are honored to present Liberty's Land Acknowledgement to you. Please take these next few minutes to pause, listen, and reflect about your own place in time and space.
We want to begin by acknowledging the first people of this land. Since time immemorial, By doing so, we can better understand the history, present, and future existence of the land and the people of this area. As we engage in this work, we ask you to reflect on your own place in time and space. Since the beginning of time, or since time immemorial, the Indigenous people have called this area home. They are called the Snoqualmie, a Lushootseed name meaning Transformers people, and the Duwamish, or the people of the inside. They ran against the banks of the rivers that ran free. And where the salmon spawned, they lived under the shadows of the mountains. And the canopy of the trees, and the shores of the lakes that dotted the land. Over time, people began to immigrate and settle on this land, the Snoqualmie called home. These immigrants were drawn by the natural resources such as coal, timber, and fertile farmland. The settlers forever changed the way of life and the land for Indigenous people, but the Indigenous people continued to live in the lands they have always called home. They are not separate from these lands and waters. As more people immigrated to this land, townships were established. Some grew so much as to be called a city. Although many things have changed since the beginning of time, the Snoqualmie people's relationship with this land remains forever foundational. They still live along the rivers where the salmon spawn, under the shadows of the mountains and the canopies of the trees and the lakes that dot the land. We acknowledge that we are on the Indigenous land of the coast of the Salish people who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Snoqualmie Indian Tribe. We thank these caretakers of this land who lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. While Land Acknowledgement serves to help us recognize Indigenous peoples as the original stewards of the lands on which we now live, it also helps offer an opportunity to build upon that knowledge with education. In fact, in 2015, the legislature passed Senate Bill 5433, requiring the since time immemorial tribal sovereignty in Washington state or other tribally developed curriculum to be taught in all schools. The use of the since time immemorial curriculum has been endorsed by all 29 federally recognized tribes.
We currently have teachers at Liberty High School incorporating components of tribally developed curriculum, Mr. Kurtz being one of them. Mr. Kurtz took it upon himself to learn Lushootseed, a common tribal language for several Salish tribes in the state of Washington. His goal was to learn the language, the stories, and more about the Indigenous people of Washington to give the social studies curriculum a broader lens to learn from. Let's check in with Mr. Kurtz to hear more.
From my experience, the way I was presented with it was that, Lushootseed is spoken all around you. Like a lot of the words that they use and the sounds actually come from the animals and the people around them. Like they're just part of the community and part of this world. So if you close your eyes and listen, it's being spoken all around you. It's the sounds, it's the time of the years, it's the smells, it's all of it coming together because it's all about, nature and being part of that. But anyways, I think this really conveys like one of the reasons why I really got into it, this philosophy is, so I'm going to say it in Lushootseed and then I'll say it in English. Uljuf t'il suhuchal, abelof chal, guachuchubid, chatla hela ilduf t'il, iishachal, alqui os chuchuchal, guala ista es ista, aquist ileb, hui chal, la iled tist ileb, o iltab chal, ata sta ileb, o quad chal. So the translation of that is, our words are medicine. When we speak, we heal our people. When we speak, it's like a song. We do not sing the song. We are made to sing by the song. It grabs us.
Thank you for tuning in with us and taking the time to learn more about Land Acknowledgement. Remember that this Land Acknowledgement is not only a historical connection to the Snoqualmie and Duwamish land, stories, and peoples. We must understand that this land, these stories, and these people are still here today. The goal moving forward is to hear a land acknowledgement more frequently before large gatherings like school assemblies, sporting events, concerts, and theater productions, for example. As a Liberty community, we want to do our part to ensure the inclusion and celebration of all people, and this is one of the many ways we can do that. Thank you and have a great day, Patriots.